Well, it's a pleasure to be here, and I actually do have a presentation to show you. It'll come up here soon. In the meanwhile, I'll introduce myself, Rahul Dodhia. I run a research lab at Microsoft, an AI research lab. We call ourselves the AI for Good, to distinguish it from all the AI for Bad labs out there. But I promise you, we'll delve into AI. I only have 15 minutes. I know that some of you have heard about AI lately, but I'll tell you a little bit more, as much as we can go. So AI, it's a rapidly changing world, and AI is a technology that I would put on par with electricity in driving economies. In the 19th century, 18th, 19th century, we had steam. Then we had electricity in the 20th century. In the 21st century, we have AI, and it's no exaggeration. And with AI, we have an era of opportunity. It unlocks so much potential. There is so much innovation and growth that can happen. It's going to be worth trillions of dollars. It's going to change industries from healthcare and finance to agriculture and entertainment and others. But with this, what we have is anxiety as well. Like, what about, with all this technology that we're getting, we also worry about the surveillance society. What happens to privacy? What happens to security? What happens to the people who might get left behind? And these kinds of anxieties are exacerbated by tech sometimes. So tech will solve some issues, like well, it wouldn't solve climate change, but it will have some solutions for climate change. But it also amplifies others. So take jobs, take things like, we've been talking about, a lot of people here have talked about, am I going to lose my job, etc. And it's not helped by people like Bill Gates and Elon Musk, who say that AI is coming over to take your job, or AI is going to start the next world war. Well, maybe, I'm not saying it won't, but it's not as dire as that. There are some things that AI can do really well. It can help identify new solutions to the problems we already have. So one thing that we can't deny is that AI will be the driver of the 21st century economy. We really strongly believe that. So much so that my boss, a CEO of a $2 trillion company, is betting the entire future of the company on AI. AI is not just for the big companies, it's for startups, it's for established entrepreneurs, and it has a number of fields it can help you in. So, for example, urban planning and development. I'll show you a case study of urban planning and development where AI is really useful. We do agriculture, analyze land cover for agriculture. We also remove barriers for startups. Like, startups have to go through a lot to get off the ground. But you've heard about customer service. You can have 24/7 customer service. But even more important, you can have personalization. With AI, you can have personalized products, personalized marketing, personalized strategy for your customers. Renewables, it will really fast-track renewables, and I'll show you another example later on of how that can happen. And then medicine. So this is where AI for Good really comes in. It's going to be much easier to do diagnosis. Radiology and pathology, those are really great partners for AI. And why are they great partners for AI? Well, because of the technologies we have right now. So there's a lot in AI, but I'm going to focus on a few things. The AI technologies that are coming up. In language, large language models, ChatGPT, it really took everyone by surprise. It really did. No one was thinking about language, but suddenly governments have to start thinking about it. the AI Act in Europe, a law of regulating AI, had not considered it, and now they have to go back to the drawing table and start thinking about it. In vision, well, people are used to AI in vision. You can identify things. If you have a lesion on your arm, an AI can tell you if that's skin cancer or not. If you have a picture of an animal, it can tell you what kind of insect or spider that is. But one thing that I haven't seen much is geospatial images. You have satellite images that are ubiquitous now, and you can use them for so many things. And that's the part I want to talk about today. There's also audio, synthetic speech. I don't think we'll have time to go into that today, but we'll see. So, diving into an example about geospatial images. Now, the war in Syria, the civil war in Syria has created a huge amount of refugees who are going into Jordan, in Amman, Jordan. There's been a 30% increase since 10 years ago. And the city is facing severe challenges in maintaining and providing infrastructure in public spaces. All these refugees come in, but they don't have data to see where these refugees are going. What's available is satellite data. So with the World Bank, we got satellite images of Amman, Jordan. From the satellite images, you have a top-down view of the city, and maybe it's at a little angle, but you get a top-down view. And what do we do with that satellite image? We look for building rooftops. From the rooftop of a building, you can tell what kind of people are living there, what kind of construction it is. Planned construction looks very different from ad hoc refugee construction. We were able to tell city planners in Amman, Jordan, these areas, like at a block level, at a building level, this is where the influx of immigrants have started building their own ad hoc buildings. Now, satellite images aren't all that you need. So we had World Bank employees drive around Amman, take photographs, and make sure that what we're telling them with the satellite images in a few places was correct. That's how we made sure that the satellite imagery AI was actually reliable. This kind of technology, not just Amman, Jordan, all over the world. We are using it everywhere now. And I want to tell you about the Global Renewables Watch. This is another thing that my lab has developed where you can use satellite images in partnership, in partnership with Planet Labs. Planet Labs provides satellite images. They map the entire world with their satellites once a day. And the Nature Conservancy is very interested in the land use where this solar energy is being used. Oops, sorry. So the Global Renewables Watch is an effort by my lab. We're mapping the entire world, and we're using satellite images to spy on countries. It's not as bad as it sounds. We're using satellite images to see where everyone has wind farms. We want to see where everyone has solar farms. So it's actually really difficult to figure out if something you see in a satellite image, is that a solar farm, or is that just a building, or is it just a field? But the AI is pretty good at figuring out what's a solar farm, etc. And so for each country, and when we release this later this year, this was released at the UN last year. When we release it, we'll have every country, and at the province, state level, you can go in and you'll see that, I have Germany as an example. The blue dots are wind farms, the orange dots are solar farms. And we can figure out exactly what the capacity is for those renewable sources. And more than that, we can tell you how it's changed over time because we have historical satellite imagery. And, oops. And the most important part is this. Yeah, you know, building renewable resources sounds great, but it comes at a cost. It comes at a cost of agricultural land. Somehow, the best places to put these farms happens to be agricultural land. And in Germany, you can see that this is cropland. Most of the renewable energy resources in Germany, at least, were built on land that could be used for crops. So there's this trade-off. What do you do about it? Well, this is where officials, policymakers, they can decide where they want to put these renewable resources or what kind of trade-offs they want to make. Now, imagine being able to do this for the whole world. It really changes the way we approach agriculture and renewable resources. And I want to give you a third example here, which is AI is going to take away some jobs, but it's also going to change them. You'll need new skills. And there are some skills that only AI can do. This example, I really like this example. So diabetic retinopathy is a disease. It's a leading cause of vision loss. 451 million people have diabetes, and 1/3 of them, 150 million, will develop diabetic retinopathy if they're not treated. If it's treated, it's completely preventable. But the thing is, in the world, there are only 200,000 people who can diagnose this. You have to go into their office, usually in a city, sit down in front of a really big, expensive camera, and they'll diagnose you. Instead, with AI, you can send people to where they are, in the rural areas, wherever they are. They'll take an image of your eye with their cell phone, and they'll tell you if you need treatment or not. So this is not something you can solve with people easily. It's something you can solve with AI very easily. I'm going to skip this in the interest of time and move on to the next thing, ChatGPT, large language models. You've heard of ChatGPT. It's been mentioned a few times here. It was really driven by the early days when search engines, Bing and Google, they wanted to compete. Each extra second counted for them. And so they were developed basically auto-suggest features. And I show this example here, why Uruguay. When you type why Uruguay, it tries to complete it like based on what it thinks you want to say. So why Uruguay has 4 stars, why Uruguay was out of the World Cup, why Uruguay is the best country. I'm sorry, rest of the world, Uruguay is the best country. And I have to say that my boss is from Uruguay. So this is how it was developed, but then it became a thing, natural language understanding. And out of that, we wanted to help people, increase their typing speed. But then people said, wait, we can do much more. We can predict what people are going to type or what ideas they have. And that's where the ChatGPT phenomenon happened. And as you've played with it, I'm sure most of you, if not all of you, have played with it, it can do an amazing job. In fact, we tested it, and we tested it on some answers for diagnosis, for doctors, for bedside manner. And what we found was that ChatGPT or chatbot was usually more accurate, and the quality of the answers was better than the doctors. And before you ask, no, we didn't choose bad doctors. This was a random selection of doctors from everywhere. And the bedside manner, on the right-hand side, the bedside manner of the chatbot was also better, like it couched answers in terms that were empathetic, more so than the doctors would. And then, but beware of this, right? There's a lot of work to do. Don't go and use ChatGPT. It's like having a friend who is very smart, but has no compunction about lying to you all the time. So there's a lot of work to be done in the ChatGPT world. I'm running out of time, but I did want to show you a very quick video of how we're putting together geospatial imagery. end with this. How do you succeed with AI? AI skills. So the types of AI skills we need are very different. You don't need to learn coding. You don't need to learn how to do all the heavy tech stuff that we used to do. The skills we needed for AI 3 years ago are very different from the skills we need now, which will be very different from the skills we'll need 3 years from now. The most important thing, before you even go the AI route, is the access to data. If AI is the energy, I mean, data is the lifeblood. Without data, you don't have AI. So, thank you very much. That's the message I want to leave you with. Thank you.